I'm not laughing.
You guys pick the jokes. We'll handle the later.
Welcome to Your Take, My Take Live. Our phone lines are now open, so if you want to share an opinion, make a comment, ask a question live on the air, give us a call at 202-904-2134. If you're outside the United States, the country code for the United States is 1. Add that before the number. Let's go to our first video question of the night. Stephen in Ohio sent this.
Hi, Tom. What do you think about the fact that the Fed has continued to keep cannabis, hemp, marijuana classified as a Schedule I drug, in spite of the fact that there are over 10,000 studies and over 50 years of science that demonstrate that it shouldn't be a Schedule I drug?
Yeah, Stephen, I have no idea why it's a Schedule I drug. For example, in the last year, 50,000 Americans have died from alcohol. In the last 100 years, you know how many people have died from pot? 0. Congressman Jared Polis has been wondering the same thing. Here he is asking DEA Administrator Michelle Leonhardt that very same question in the last year.
Is crack worse for a person than marijuana?
I believe all illegal drugs are bad.
Is methamphetamine worse for somebody's health than marijuana?
I don't think any illegal drugs.
Is heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
Again, all.
I mean, either yes, no, or I don't know. I mean, if you don't know, you can look this up. You should know this as the Chief Administrator for the Drug Enforcement Agency. I'm asking you a very straightforward question. Is heroin worse for someone's health than marijuana?
All illegal drugs are bad.
Does this mean you don't know?
So, yeah, apparently she doesn't know, which is really a sad commentary on the state of what's going on in the Obama administration right now. Here's a viewer from Chicago who left a message on our rant line.
Someone needs to compile this Reagan list of all the damaging bills and legislation that he and his party created in the 1980s, from the day one till day end, to the last day of the 8 years that he was in office. Somebody needs to compile the repeal of all these things, the stopping of enforcement of the Sherman antitrust laws. This needs to be done. Somebody needs to compile this entire list of the Reagan era destruction of America. And this needs to be posted on every single thing, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere it can be posted. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Actually, somebody has compiled the list. His name is Will Bunch. He wrote a book called Tear Down This Myth. The myth of, Reagan being a great statesman, being a great president, being good for America, all that kind of stuff. It's one of actually several. There's a whole now body of literature basically talking back to Reagan. So, anyhow, for the first caller of the night, Sherry in Trenton, New Jersey. Hey, Sherry. Thanks for calling. What's up?
Hi. How you doing, Tom?
Great. How are you tonight?
I'm good tonight. I'm just wondering what your opinion is on women in high government places. Do you think we can make a difference? Because men always seem to play like a win-lose game, and women like to be compromised more, in my view.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Sherry. And thank you for the call, and thank you for making that point. What you see, if you look around the world, or if you look anthropologically at civilizations going back, well, tens of thousands of years, is that those societies, that the more hierarchical, patriarchal, male-dominated a society is, the more wealth will be rigidly separated, the more you'll have haves and have-nots, the more social ills you'll have, the more likely you are to have wars, the more mental illness you'll have. I mean, it's just this whole long list of things that all derive out of basically a lack of balance in society. Whereas when you look at those societies where women are either where women have tremendous power, matrilineal, matriarchal societies, historically Iceland, for example, or the Iroquois Confederacy, where you had 4 out of the 5 nations in the Iroquois Confederacy, as Ben Franklin and Jefferson wrote Jefferson wrote about in his autobiography, or his personal diaries, that men were not allowed to vote. The Sachems were the guys who carried the messages between communities, but only the women voted. That in those communities, you didn't have war. You did have a reasonable distribution of wealth. You did have, multi-generational, high-quality life. So I think, testosterone poisoning is killing our planet, frankly. I think that we need women in power. In Norway, their constitution requires 40% of all their legislators to be women. I think that's a good start. Jeremy in Reston, Virginia. Hey, Jeremy, you want to talk about Obamacare?
Yeah, Tom, thank you for taking my call. Here we go again with another, with the Republicans once again threatening government shutdown. This time they're putting Obamacare is on the menu.
Yeah,
big
surprise today.
Could you please, tell me what the difference between Obamacare is and what the Republicans are offering? Because I guess they now have a counteroffer. Just so I can be well informed.
Sure. Thanks a lot for the call, Jeremy. My understanding of up until the last week, the Republicans had no replacement for Obamacare. And apparently what they want to do now is a couple of things. They want to say that you should be able to buy your insurance. Insurance companies should be able to operate across state lines. In other words, they don't believe in the 10th Amendment. They don't believe in states' rights. They don't believe that a state should be able to look out for its people. And so you'll have a situation if this were to happen, like what happened with credit cards, and the same thing happened about 25, 30 years ago, where the state with the laxest, lowest, stupidest standards, in the case of credit cards, it was North Dakota, so I'm calling it the South Dakota, all the companies moved to that state, and then they sell nationwide. So in other words, the standards have collapsed. That's the first part of their proposal, the Republican proposal. Nationwide selling. No more state insurance commissioners looking out for the people in their state. Second part of their proposal is that everybody have a medical health savings account. That every year you can take up to $5,000 of the hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that you earn, and actually wealthy people can take even more than $5,000, deduct it from your income, put it in a savings account, and that money can only be used to pay for doctor's bills or hospital bills. If you try and use it for something else, if you lose your job or whatever, you get huge penalties and all that kind of. So their health savings account, this is their second big innovation. And then the third one is, don't sign up for Obamacare, don't have anything to do with this. Let the insurance companies go back to denying people care because they have pre-existing conditions because, freedom, right? Freedom. USA, USA, USA. So that's the difference as far as I can tell. This is Scott, Portland, Oregon. Send us a note on Grandma. Here it is.
30 years ago, I once worked in a fast food place. At 18, you got $2 an hour minimum wage. So 30 years later, they're only getting $7.25. Of course, say I go down a record for them getting $15 an hour, and with with a union for themselves as well. Thanks. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot, Scott. We have a serious problem in the United States in that there is this mythology that has been perpetrated since the Reagan Revolution that people are paid what they are worth. The fact of the matter is, people typically are not paid what they're worth. The billionaires are not paid what they're worth. Nobody's worth $1 billion a year, or $100 million a year, or $50 million a year. It's crazy. And minimum wage workers are not paid what they're worth. There's dignity to work. We're all human beings here. There should be no job in this country where a person cannot work a 40-hour week and have a decent life. It's just that simple. And it used to be that way. And then Ronald Reagan came along. It was like perpetual reign. So anyhow, I'm with you. We need to make some significant changes, but I think that myth is that's the cancer at the kernel of the whole thing that needs to be attacked. Richard in Los Angeles. Hey, Richard, thanks for calling. You want me to talk about fracking?
Oh, John, thank you. Tom, I read an article on fracking. Not only does it release the carbon dioxide, but now I read that it's releasing methane.
Yes.
And they say methane is like 72% worse than carbon dioxide. I mean, how long is that going to take to destroy us?
Well, it's not 72% worse. It's 7,200% worse. It's 72 times worse. Methane has, in the atmosphere a lifespan of about 20 years roughly. And it's a little over 100 times more potent than carbon dioxide, but it starts degrading fairly rapidly. And when it's released in the oceans, you get bacteria that will degrade it and turn it into carbon dioxide. So there's all these different formulas, and you have to determine where it's coming from and what kind of methane it is and like that. But, still, methane is a problem. Carbon dioxide, though, over the short term, is the real big problem.